Life is like a road, a long road of exploration. We find that it's a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness. We learn that the road to a friend's house is never long. We discover that a road like water can bring life and prosperity into an otherwise dry existence. But roads can also lead to death and destruction. Near the dramatic Drakensberg mountain range in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, lies a small town called Dundee. This town is made up of a closely knit farming community, many of whom belong to the local Seventh-day Adventist congregation. On the 3rd of August 2003, tragic news reached this community. A serious vehicle accident had taken place, claiming the lives of some of the members of a youth touring group based at the local church. Dundee, the community, their lives and their world would never be the same again. It seemed to them in an instant like the end of the road.
We were a group of young people that had a vision for abundant life, for a group to start in South Africa. We heard about a group in Australia called Mega Life. So we went over there and we had training with them for 3 months, and then we came back and we had training for another 3 months here in South Africa, and that was in 1994.
Abundant Life's a youth touring group. We go to many different schools, high schools, primary schools, nursery schools, schools with people who've got disabilities. Go to also many churches, many different old age homes, and we just tour the country and proclaim Jesus' love in very effective ways.
At the primary schools we do puppet shows where we teach them different lessons out of life and also about God's love.
We also give out correspondence cards that absolutely free, and the kids can just fill it in and give their own opinion on what they learned.
Well, Abundant Life tours the country and they spread the gospel of Jesus and tell others about the love of Jesus. And through that we reach out to people and serve them like Jesus did.
I can say that I've learned to know Jesus. He's like a friend to me now. And I didn't know him before, and my whole world turns around him now.
Abundant Life it's been the biggest life-changing experience of my life.
On Sunday the 3rd of August, we left my house and we were all very excited, going to Cape Town for a month. We were all laughing. Remember, Yunandi and myself and Charlene, we still had a pillow fight. Oh, the worst thing that could possibly happened to us.
I was listening to a CD. Everyone was pretty quiet at the time. Everyone just sort of in their own peaceful little worlds. And just driving down that road, I think at the time I had my head down.
And I heard this whistle in the background and I didn't know what was going on. So I looked at Wesley and I saw him pull the steering wheel so that we could get back on the road.
The trailer jackknifed and the whole combi just started rolling.
I remember just crying out to God as we were rolling.
And then I don't know what happened after that.
Remember we landed on our wheels and I was seeing stars, and it felt like for quite a while I was just lying there, but it must have just been a few seconds.
And I looked next to me and Yunandi wasn't there.
I looked outside the combi. I just saw all our bags and everything lying in the grass, and then I heard Wesley scream, "They're not in the combi."
The first thing you think about is, why, Lord?
And I jumped out the combi and I saw Yunandi, Gerard, Wayne and Renee all lying there on the ground.
Fruit lying everywhere, baggage everywhere, sound equipment. And then the biggest shock was seeing like the 4 friends lying on the road.
We waited for a long time for ambulances. Well, it felt like that.
So I got out and I ran to see what was going on, but I didn't know how to help, I didn't know what to do.
Then Dick came to me and we prayed together.
And all our Bible study cards, there were thousands of them. Also, they were lying all over the place, scattered around.
When I saw Renee, I didn't think she was alive anymore.
At first I was very angry with God.
And suddenly, it was as if we were the only people in the world. I looked down the road both sides, and there was no cars at that time. And you know, the wind was blowing, and as if, you know, the world was ended, and you know, we were the only people left, or something like that.
Unbeknown to the group, a miracle was about to take place. Within minutes of the accident having taken place, two doctors, Emmanuel and Karine Kritzinger, were traveling home after their vacation. Had they not been delayed for a few minutes in the previous town, they would not have arrived at the accident scene and would have passed the spot earlier.
What struck me most was it was such a destructive scene. It was something which I had never encountered before. What struck me first were the muffins and the oranges that were lying in the road. And I thought that somebody's mother made these muffins. And it was just such a tragic thing for me to see them just scattered on the road. And I saw these 4 people lying on the tar. And there were some other people, some other cars that had also stopped people that were there helping already. And I went to the first person I saw lying there, and I put my hand on her cheek. And I noticed that she had passed away. And I said a prayer in my heart for this child that I didn't know. And I thought of her parents who would be somewhere in the country. And this is a child that is loved. She's got people who are dear to her who would get this terrible news that she had passed away. Half on top of her was the second child I saw, Gerard. And I gave him some basic treatment that I could give. And for the whole time until the ambulance arrived, Emmanuel and I moved between these 3 children who were severely injured. They had very serious head injuries. And from a medical point of view, there wasn't much we could do. There was only one thing we could do, and that was pray for them. And the other students asked me, how are they? Are they going to live? What's wrong? How serious is it? And the only thing I could say to them was, I don't know, but pray for them. That's one thing we can do. And it struck me that these other students just got together, put their arms around each other, and they started praying for these injured friends of them.
As time went by, we sort of realized that these people that we were involved with were special people. They were not just ordinary people. And there's something special binding these people together. And the care and the concern that you could see that the one had for the other. And only afterwards we realized that we were involved with something special. And it had a very large impact on us. It was also a good experience, and afterwards a spiritual experience that made us grow a bit and make us remember that the Lord is great and the Lord has a plan with everything.
On our way to the hospital, my best friend, halt, she started getting worse. Then they told me to leave the theatre, and a few minutes later, the doctor came to me and said she passed away. At that stage, I thought, this is the end of the world. I've got 6 other friends, 5 other friends that's coming to this hospital any minute, and I've got to tell them that one of our friends died.
At the hospital, I remember that evening when Charlene came out and told us that Yunandi had also passed away. It was as if we were in a dream world. We're just wanting to wake up. But it really happened to us.
I realized immediately that you guys were a very close family. And my heart went out to them, realizing that they were in need of love, acceptance, and just someone to look after them. They were in a strange place, strange environment, and just God touched my heart that I have to take them in and do as much as I can.
The police captain, he was also a Christian, and he opened his house for us. He comforted us, and he just tried to spiritually build us also.
The tragic accident appeared in newspapers and on television countrywide. Thousands of people showed their support to the families of the children involved. Yunandi and Renee had died, and Gerrit and Wayne were in a critical condition. Months of intensive healing lay ahead for the 2 boys, and months and even years of emotional healing lay ahead for the group as a whole.
We were on our way to our home when we got the first message that Abundant Life was in an accident. You didn't know what happened, and then the next message that came that our daughter Renee was killed in the accident.
Renee and I were best friends, and we did everything together. And she was an amazing person. She always made me laugh. We always did funny, stupid things together and made other people laugh. But it didn't matter if we embarrassed ourselves, because as long as we were making the people around us happy.
The day when the accident happened, we were visiting friends in Durban. As we pulled off the highway, the call came through that our daughter Yunandi just passed away.
On the day of the funeral for Yunandi, as we drove down the main road down there, we were driving past Yunandi's house and her horses, who, as horses do, normally just eat grass, stand around. But these horses on that day, as if to be, through the Spirit of God, a final salute and maybe even a testimony to those who were grieving at the time. They ran along next to the fence, all the way next to the car which Yunandi's coffin was in as she travelled along down to the farm where the funeral was to be. They followed down through the river, through the bushes, and then continued to follow. And then as their property ended and the car continued to go on, they stood there as if to watch her, to say a final goodbye.
I know that they were ready when they died that day.
There were lots of questions, there were lots of tears, lots of sadness, and I guess very few answers for these young people.
Many people predicted the end of the road for the Abundant Life group. 2 members dead, 2 in a critical condition. Some advised the remaining members to give up and do something else.
Afterwards, we said that no matter what happens, we have to go on.
Abundant Life, through the strength of God, stood firm.
We've learned that, we're in a war, and that Satan's going to be attacking us all the time. He wants us to stop the work of the Lord, to stop working for Him, because that's what He hates, and He's just trying to break us all down. But with a smile on my face, I can say that we're not going to do that, and we're just going to keep on working for the Lord for the rest of our lives until He comes.
The Abundant Life group did go on, and for the rest of the year they worked hard and testified wherever they went. They joined up with a larger Abundant Life group and presented their play about the great controversy between God and Satan, good and evil. A play called The Truth About the Lie, presented through the medium of music and mime. After God had planned the creation of the earth, the angels bowed down and worshipped him in awe. Lucifer, the head angel, was filled with jealousy and would not bow down to God. He wanted to be God. He persuaded a third of the angels to be his followers, with the lie that God was unjust. In spite of the rebellion and the lie, God went ahead with his plan for creation, and on the sixth day he created man and woman. God showed Adam and Eve the beautiful garden, which was to be their home. He also taught them about the tree of good and evil, that they should not eat of the fruit. God loved spending time with them every day, and it was the highlight of their day. Satan attempted to destroy the peace and happiness of the innocent couple by telling them the first lie ever told: "You shall not die if you eat from the tree of good and evil." Lucifer had told Adam and Eve that instead of dying, they would become like God if they ate of the fruit. Adam gave Eve the blame for his fall, who in turn passed the blame on to Lucifer. With sorrow in his heart, God expelled the couple from Eden.
I know that good people, yes, they do die and while doing the Lord's work, but I see that as part of the great controversy. I don't understand it completely, but I know God is love and he doesn't want us to get hurt. But because of sin that's in this world, we do get hurt. And he's there to help us through it, to carry us so that we don't get hurt more, that we actually go through it and come out better people on the other side.
Jesus explained to the angels that the Godhead had devised the plan by which mankind would be saved, the plan of salvation. The angels were shocked to hear that in order for man to be saved, Jesus would have to die. The head angel came forward to offer himself as a sacrifice for man, but Jesus assured them that only his life would be accepted. God gave them the good news that I will rise again and be with you. As a little baby in Bethlehem, Satan tried to destroy Jesus, but God placed guardian angels around him. Later in life, Jesus did not give in to Satan's temptations.
The question that probably everybody asked is why? And how do we fit it in with a God who is a loving God, a caring God, an almighty God who protects, and yet an accident like this happens. But because of the great controversy, and we believe in the great controversy, it paints the picture where we can understand that Satan is accusing God of not being a loving God. And he does everything in his power to try and convince us that God is not loving and not caring. Yet on the other hand, Scripture indicates that God is loving and caring, and that he does protect us. And from that point of view, we could probably not fully understand or explain why an accident like this happens. But given the larger picture of this great controversy, we can understand and at least place this type of tragedy. But we also know that God gained victory, and that there is something to look forward, a bigger picture, the New Jerusalem. And I think that's what we're striving for, and that's what's giving us hope in this tragedy. So as long as we're on this journey, as long as we're traveling on this earth, I think a lot of these sad things will still happen, as long as we just do not lose faith and hope. God will continue to be with us and protect his people.
Lovingly, Jesus looked over the disciples as he shared the Last Supper with them. The truth about the lies of Satan was soon to be revealed. The Roman soldiers took Jesus up a hill called Golgotha and crucified him. On the Friday afternoon, Jesus lifted up his head and cried out on the cross, "It is finished." On the third day, an angel descended from heaven and opened the grave. The Son of God came out victorious. 40 days later, Jesus ascended to heaven, leaving behind him on earth the hope of his soon return and the truth about the lie.
I'm sure Satan's there and he's telling Jesus the only reason they're doing your work is because they've never had hardships in their life and they've never had real difficulties, but if I do this to them, you'll see they won't give you praise anymore. And that's exactly what happened, I think, and Jesus said, well, let sin take its toll. And today we still give him praise to God because he's an awesome God and he has given us the strength to carry on with his work all the time.
But after this event, I got hold of my granddaughter's prayer book, and in there I realized that she had a special relationship with the Lord in this respect, that she actually spoke to him. She shared her thoughts, she shared her wishes, she shared her concerns with him, which I had never learned to do.
I think this event has changed our lives in more than one way. Firstly, it's drawn us closer to the Lord because we've had the opportunity to get to know the Abundant Life group as a witnessing group. We've also got to know that the Seventh-day Adventist Church is a family church. And as we were traveling down to the accident scene, we had over 200 phone calls from church members from all over the world that know us, that phoned us and spoke to us and gave us courage. Nowhere in the Bible did Jesus say, I will protect you from trouble, or I'll protect you in trouble. But he did say, he'll be with us during the trouble.
The night before Yolandi, we were busy closing Sabbath. And through the circle we had questions that we needed to answer. And Yonandi's question was, what is your vision for your future? And her reply was that she wanted to be ready to meet Jesus and she wanted to do the will of her Father. And that was so special because it stayed with us to realize that when she wakes up, Jesus will be on the clouds of heaven to fetch her. And as it has shocked us through this accident, we've realized that we need to make that choice every day as well.
Wayne and Gerrit were still in a critical condition, but as time passed, they went from strength to strength.
They told me that there was no hope for him because he didn't react to the doctors when they gave him instructions. And look at him now, it's 3 months, 1 week later. But the Lord is good. He gave us strength because this is a very hard thing to go through. And if I didn't know him, I don't think I would have coped.
At the Abundant Life reunion, 9 weeks after the fatal accident, Wayne was playing the piano from memory. The angels rejoiced, played their harps and musical instruments as they welcomed the Son of God back into heaven. Jesus refused to take back his robe, scepter and crown. He would not until the end, when the righteous and unrighteous would see that he is the truth, the King of kings and Lord of lords. Only then would he accept his kingship back.
I know that many lives have been touched. Many people have assessed their own spiritual walks and many have taken a new direction now. Not just people in South Africa, not just friends and family, but people all around the world. Those who have been praying for us. And for my own friends and family back home, the testimony that we've been able to share. And I believe that's one reason why God enables good people to pass away. People whose salvation is secured, by the lives that they live.
The angels bow down and worship God Almighty and crown him King of Kings. It is then that Satan and his followers attempt to destroy God and his people in the city. And it is then that fire will rain down from God's throne, destroying evil once and for all. Satan is hurled into the lake of fire and evil exists no more. And everyone praises God and gives him glory and honor.
And so bad things like this will happen, and I believe will continue to happen more frequently as the efforts of Satan continue, because he knows his time is short. But we know that we have the power of an eternal God to support us through all this. And God will prevail.
This whole accident has really woken all of us up to actually realize that the end time is very soon. Jesus is coming again very soon. Sooner than we can actually imagine, I think. This world is coming to a vast end, and it's made me realize that my life must be right. And not only my life, but I must go out and tell others about Jesus so they can be ready as well when Jesus comes again.
At the Abundant Life reunion, one of Yonandi's paintings was shown to the audience. A painting clearly depicting that the end of the world is near. Time is running out. Yonandi knew it, and the remaining members of the Abundant Life group are now convinced of it as well. The evening was spent talking about how this event changed lives, brought people closer to God, and brought families and friends closer to each other. Everybody who was involved with the accident in some way or another was present. Life-changing testimonies, acts of loving kindness and togetherness of a community were displayed, and people left positive about the future. We're not alone in our search for meaning on the road of life. Everybody travels on this road. Some parts of the road lead through beautiful mountains and green pastures, and other parts lead through darkness and valleys of desolation. We all need to travel this road. It is our destiny. The great controversy will play out before our eyes. We'll see it, we'll experience it, we will laugh, we will cry. At the end of this road is Jesus. He is coming again. The end of the road is in sight, and when we see him, we will realize that the end of the road is just the beginning of eternity.